Dear students, are you ready for the explanation? In this video, first of all, title will be explained. So listen to it carefully. Now we should discuss about the title also. The title of the story, The Black Aeroplane, is an ideal title. The Black Aeroplane is the mysterious and strange plane that came from nowhere to help the narrator. It suits. Once the narrator lands safely, the black aeroplane disappears and is nowhere to be seen. At the end of the story, the thought of the reader stays on with the black plane and its pilot. And it also compels the reader, you people also, when you just read the story, to wonder about nothing else but the black aeroplane. So it's a suitable title for the story. Students, explanation will be paragraph wise. Firstly, I'll explain this first page. So listen to it carefully. Before I start, listen to the instructions that you have to follow. Dear students, I think you all are ready for the explanation. Before I start, there are some instructions for you people. First one, open your English books. Second, as I read the paragraphs, you all have to read with me. Third, you should avoid looking at mobiles as it will have a bad effect on your eyes. Fourth, you should note the meanings that I am going to tell you while explaining the paragraphs. So now I'm going to start. So all of you just look at your books. First paragraph I'm going to start. You'll find that paragraph on your mobile screen also, but you have to look on your books only. So here we are going to start. The Black Aeroplane, Part 2. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. Here countryside means village. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. Here, the narrator who is narrating the story, he was flying his old Dakota aeroplane. As these two lines show us that it's night. Just look at the lines. The moon was coming up in the east. That means the moon was coming up in the sky from the east. Behind me means at the backside of the narrator, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me as he was flying his Dakota, and the stars were shining in the sky. It shows that it was completely dark. Now the narrator said that there wasn't a cloud in the sky. That means it means that the weather was clear. I was happy. Here I stands for the narrator because he is narrating his story. So narrator was very happy to be all alone up in the sky, and he was above the sleeping countryside means the village people, they were sleeping. It's night hour and they were sleeping, and he was flying above them. I was flying my old Dakota. Here again I stands for narrator, and he was saying that he was flying his old, means that very old one. Dakota is the name of an airplane here. Airplane over France. He was just moving over the France back to England. He was going back to his place. And he started dreaming of his holidays and looking forward to being with my family. As narrator's family lives there in England, and he started his journey back to England. And he was dreaming about his holidays. And he was very happy that he's going to meet his family members in the morning. At the same moment, he looked at his watch. It was 1:30 in the morning. Now look at the next paragraph. I should call Paris control soon, I thought. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said, Paris control, Dakota DS-088 here. Can you hear me? I'm on the way to England. Over. As he was flying in the sky, at the same moment he thought that he should just call Paris control room. And as he looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, means in front of the aeroplane, that was the nose, what he saw, the lights of a big city in front of him. There was lightning was there everywhere. Means he was crossing over the big city. And I switched on the radio, means at the same moment he switched on the radio because he has to send the message to the Paris control. He said, Paris control, Dakota DS-088 here. Can you hear me? This is the way to just give the message. So he wanted to just give the message that where he was. I'm on my way to England. Over. And he had given the message that he was moving towards England. Now it's paragraph 3rd. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS-088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS-088, over. As I told you, the narrator, he just called at Paris control room. At the same moment, the radio answered him. Immediately means at the same moment, he got the reply. The reply was DS-088, this is the code of Dakota aeroplane. I can hear you. That means they heard their voice. An instruction given by that voice was, you ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS-088, over. Instruction was that he had to turn 12 degrees west from that place. And after that, it said over. The message was over. Next line. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. Now, as per instruction, he checked the map first, and he checked the compass. Then he switched towards his second and last fuel tank. He was having 2 fuel tanks, to the last one, and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. That means he turned his old aeroplane, that is Dakota, 12 degrees west towards England. That means that was the direction to move towards England. I'll be in time for breakfast. Again, I will stands for the narrator. I'll be in time for breakfast. I thought, a good English breakfast. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Now, narrator was very happy as he was going to England to meet his family, and he was very excited to have English breakfast, his favorite one. So he thought that he'll be on time for breakfast. Means that at that morning he should reach there and he'll have the breakfast. A good English breakfast. Really, he enjoyed having it. And at that time, everything was going well. No problem was facing. And it was an easy flight according to him. because it was moving smoothly. His journey was going on and he had not faced any kind of problem. Now we move to paragraph 4. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. Storm clouds. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front line across the sky. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. As his journey was going on, he was relaxed, but as he left Paris behind, 150 kilometers, he just reached. He crossed that Paris, 150 kilometers. After what 150 kilometers, what happened? What he saw? The clouds. Because at the time he started his journey, the sky was clear. But as he crossed 150 kilometers, what he saw? A cloud. Just the clouds. And that was not simple clouds. That was storm clouds. And they were huge in size. Very big. Huge means very big in size. And how they looked? They looked like black mountains. Have you seen black mountains? Such high mountains standing in front line across the sky. It was just looking like that was in a line and was so black and so huge, so big that the narrator could not fly up and over them. It was difficult for him to just fly over those clouds, the storm clouds. And I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north or south. And now just he was thinking about the fuel also. He was not having so much fuel that he could just fly over those mountains, those storm mountains. Even he could not move around the north or south of those mountains. Just think about his condition now. He became nervous. He was thinking about the things because the clouds were in front of him. And what to do next? Just see what he will do. Now we move to paragraph 5th. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought. But I wanted to get home. I wanted that breakfast. Now just look at these lines. As narrator saw the storm clouds, still, what is coming in his mind? That he wanted English breakfast. Firstly, as he had seen the clouds, he thought that he should go back to Paris. But the narrator wanted to go back to his home. He wanted to meet his family members and he wanted that English breakfast. Next lines. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. As he wanted to reach home, he thought that he should take risk. He was ready to take risk. And what he did, that's a strange thing. He flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. Just he entered into the storm. The big clouds, he entered into those clouds. Now next lines. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass. I couldn't believe my eyes. As narrator with his old Dakota was inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black because he entered inside the cloud. That was a black stormy clouds. And really it was impossible for him to see anything outside the aeroplane. He was inside the aeroplane was inside the cloud, and it was totally dark and he was unable to see anything outside the aeroplane. And what happened to aeroplane? The old aeroplane, it jumped in and twisted, means turned round and round in the air many times. At the same moment, the narrator looked at the compass and really he couldn't believe his eyes that what happened, that what was going on in that cloud.